All right. Um, so the title of this is I think it's called The Mystery of the Sun, the Moon, and the Stars. But the subtitle will probably be called uh, Deliverance, I guess, from Triangular Powers. So we start with Genesis. Genesis is it means the beginning, and so Genesis is, let me check my audio levels. Yeah, Genesis is a book all about beginnings. That's all Genesis is about. Is the beginnings of various things. Genesis is the first murder. Was in Genesis. The first sin. Um, the first days, right? The first creation of plants, water. Genesis is all about the first and the beginnings of things. We find a lot of firsts in Genesis. So in the beginning, Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was formless, empty. Sometimes it says void, right? The earth was formless, empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. So we have three things already. The earth was formless, void, empty, right? And dark. Another way of saying is the earth was shapeless. So the earth was shapeless, the earth was empty, and there was darkness residing over the deep waters. So those are three things. The earth was without form, it was empty, which is the same thing as a void, and there was darkness covering the deep waters. Three things. Okay? That gives you a triangle already. Those are three things that could represent a man's life. When I say man, I mean man and woman, right? So those are three things that could represent man's life. A man's life could be shapeless, without shape. A man's life could be empty, right? And a man's life can have darkness residing over it. And so right away in the first Genesis 1:1, God is talking about a triangular thing. And we are still in Genesis, no, that's Genesis 1:2. So right after, because that's Genesis 1:2 is not over, it says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. So darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. So right away, again, God is telling us about these three things: formless, emptiness, and darkness. And then right after that, he speaks about waters twice: deep waters, and then the surface of the waters. So he's telling us right away from the top about how dark, evil, and ruthless the marine powers are, the powers of the water, right? The powers from the marine kingdom, or the kingdom of darkness, is in the water. I mean, if you don't know that by now, know that today. That's where the kingdom of darkness is. The headquarters of the kingdom of darkness is underwater. Okay, if you don't know that, you know that now. Believe that. Atlantis is real, and it's not an ancient ruined city. Atlantis is a real city, and right now they are down there mad that I'm recording this, because I tried to record this yesterday or the day before yesterday, and of course I recorded the whole thing with no audio. So they're mad down in the waters, in the deep waters, watching me like you're seeing me right now on a TV screen or on a screen. That's how they're watching me right now, except I'm not even on YouTube or uploaded yet. I'm just recording it and then uploading it, right? But they're watching me like I'm live, regardless of that, though. I don't want to go around and then people are like, what you talking about? Yeah. So right away we see God speaking about something, about three things. So when you see and you hear like three things, I want you to think triangle, right? I'm just picking up my notes. I'm gonna make sure the little light is on. Is there a light on? Yeah, okay. My notes. I'm not a psychic or anything. I have, see, like I drew a little, you can see it already, thing overlay, but I drew a little triangle. I have notes because I don't want to talk people's ear off and like, lose them too much right away. I don't want to give too much overwhelming information right away. So I kind of like give a little some easy to eat snack, right? So right, so the word is telling us about the things and how a man's life could be shapeless, empty, and dark. Then he introduces us right after that to H2O, to water, aka the marine spirits. And those are vicious, ruthless powers, boy. Right? And then after that, he makes plants, which he made before the humans. And then he starts making other things in the days are past the first day, 7 day. Right? And then we keep going down to 13, Genesis 13 and 14. Well, is it right here? Yeah, 14. Then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. And let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth. And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. So now in Genesis 13, 1 to 14, he's telling us about the heavenlies, how he's made the heavenlies. That's what he's telling us. The lights in the firmament, those are the stars. The sun, the moon, and the stars. Right? So he's like, let lights appear in the sky. And let them be signs to mark the seasons, the days, the years. And they're signs to mark seasons, days, and years, okay? Why did he make the sun and the moon and the stars and the heavenlies? Why did he do that? He did that because he made them to be as signs for seasons, days, and years, right? And then it says he made two great lights, one to rule the day, one to rule the night. That's the sun and that's the moon. And then it says right after that, he also made the stars. And so now we have again, let me put my Bible in here. He's introducing us to the sun, the moon, and the stars. Right? That is three things. Boom. The triangular powers. The sun, the moon, and the stars. The sun, the moon, right? And the stars. The sun, the moon, and the stars. That is, those three make triangular powers. The sun, the moon, and the stars. Look, you see how they create a triangle? Right, the triangle is creating like a window. And if you look through the triangle, you can see like a swirl. That's like a nebula in the background. It's almost like the thing that they put on a gun, right? When you have a sniper, he has a little thing on a gun that you look through to get your aim. You look. They look through the little thing on the sniper. I don't know. It's called a scope. They sometimes they have a laser, right? And through there they can aim at their target, and then they shoot. That's basically what this is. Think of it like that. It's like a window, and they use the triangular powers to shoot at you to hit their targets, right? And how, these, again, he made these for seasons, days, and years, right? So these triangular powers, the sun, the moon, and the stars, are located in the heavenlies, right? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against authorities, rulers, and authorities, principalities, and rulers of spiritual wickedness in other heavenly realms. Right? They're located in a heavenly realm. That's where the sun, the moon, and the stars are, right? The triangular powers are controlling powers. Right? They're when I say controlling powers, they use their triangular powers to control if somebody prospers or not, or even if somebody dies or doesn't die, or doesn't get to make it to their age, or someone dies before their time. They use it to do a lot of things. And how do they do that? They do that by programming these three things: the sun, the moon, and the stars. They speak programs into the sun and into the moon and into the stars, and that's how they use the triangular powers, right? These programs are run depending if they're programming the day in the day, if they're programming the night in the night. Both. They programmed both, right? Good luck trying to cast or bind up this problem here. Good luck. It's not going to work. This is not a little a demon that you bind out and kick out and cast out. No. These are powers. It's different. Yeah, every believer is supposed to cast out demons. We're supposed to do that. If you believe, then you have the authority to come in the name of Jesus. Just if you believe, right? That's off the top. Every believer, who is a baby Christian, who has come and believes in the name of Jesus, has been given the authority to cast out demons, heal the sick, etc. Right? That's off tops. You're supposed to be doing that as a believer. Now, this is not something you can cast out. If you got triangular powers going on in your life or working on, that are at work, you got a problem. And no binding, no telling it, yelling at it to go is going to work. That's not the way it works. These are programs. So you can't cast out or bind up triangular powers at work. You can't do it. There's a lot to it. It's not just that, right? What's a program? A program is like an instruction or a command. Think of it like a computer, right? A computer programmer. All a computer does is receives a command, and then the person that's using the computer, the program, the phone, whatever, is running the command or giving it the command, and then all it does is receive the command or the program, the instruction, and do it. Right? That's it. It's a computer. Yeah, so let's start with stars. Stars So when Jesus was born, let's start with when Jesus was born. Where's my book? Maybe that'll make it a little easier, because it's not something people really hear about. But I went through this. I had to actually endure this, live this, and defeat this. So I'm not just like going based off of research and study, even though I did have to study things. I had to live it first and then understand what it was, and was able to then either like find it in words or finally put it into words and back it up with the scripture, because I lived it for a long time now, for years and years and years. This is something from your youth. This is something that afflicted me since my youth. I'm in my 30s. This afflicted me since I was in my youth, in high school and stuff like that. And it was just a program running my life. I did not understand, and now I understand. Okay, I see why things went this way, because it didn't make sense. A lot of things in my life that happened or didn't happen just did not make sense until I started doing the things that I had to do to override these programs and to defeat this, which I will get into, because it is a certain way we have to come into it in order for it to make sense. So Matthew 2:9. As I'm saying, I don't want to give too much like to eat off of this. This is not milk. This is meat. All they got on here is milk. This is something you could chew. You need teeth for this. This is meaty. This is a meal you sit down and you're going to be full off of. This is meat. Matthew 2:9. Okay. This is when Jesus is born, right? No, Matthew 2. It's titled the chapter "Visitors from the East." And Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men. There's a little star by the wise men. So I want to see what it's or royal astrologers. There you go. And the Greek version reads Magi. So the three royal astrologers, or the three Magi, or the three wise men, same thing, from eastern lands, arrived in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose." Boom. The little sign, little asterisk next to it says, "Or saw his star in the east." Right, so they're astrologers. They knew where the north, east, west, south. They knew, right, the word. And if you really think about the news, NEWS, what is north, east, west, south? The word news that they show us is just north, east, west, south. Just the acronyms, the letters of north, east, west, south spells out the word news. But oh, I hear ringing in my ear. See, they want, and I don't care. They want me. Yeah, I'm gonna record this and it's gonna work. I didn't like it or not, but let me keep going. Yeah. So they saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him. This is the three wise men speaking, right? So we'll stop right there. They saw his star rising when he was born. So that tells you that everybody has a star assigned to them. The star in the heavenlies that he created in Genesis, or in the beginning. We keep going down, skip some to Matthew 2:7. Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child, and when you find him, come back and tell me, so that I can go and worship him too." Pause. He was lying. He wanted to kill Jesus. He didn't want to worship him, but he was trying to be sneaky there and manipulate the wise men into bringing him and finding him for him. Keep going. So now into Matthew 2:9. After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. Pause. It says, the star that they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It led them. It guided them. They followed the star, and the star led. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. So Jesus Christ's star that rose up when he was born in the sky, that the three wise men saw, led them all the way to where he was, to his house or wherever it was he was born, in a manger, wherever he was physically actually located the day he was born. The star that the three wise men saw led them to him because it stopped up in the sky right over where he was located. And so they were filled with joy. They entered the house, saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. They opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. There we go. We have three things again. When it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod. Right. So they went in and they opened their treasure chests, right? So stars have to do with gifts, treasures, money, prosperity, and royalty, obviously, right? It also has to do with dreams and God warning in dreams, and just like Abraham and Sarah when they took his wife because he was too scared to say it was his wife, and that she was so beautiful, and the king, I forgot what king, took Sarah, and God came that night and was like, don't touch her, she's somebody's wife, don't you dare touch her. He warned the king in a dream. He warns these people. Okay, so somebody could locate your star. Somebody can locate everybody has a star. I have a star, you have a star. We could probably have more than one, honestly. But let's not even go there yet. Somebody can locate your star. Someone can see your star before they see you. They can see how bright it shines. They can locate it. They can follow it. It could lead them. It could guide them. Actually, stars could talk. If you really want to know. I'll show you. Let me see. I wrote it down here somewhere. Where did I put it? It should be in, I did write it somewhere. Where did I write it? Well, it's somewhere in Psalms it says the stars can sing. I forgot where. But it's not that important. Stars could sing, they could talk, they could speak. Somebody could call your star up, locate your star, ask it something, and it'll answer. For real. And why would somebody do that? Why would somebody locate my star? Mine? They don't even know me, but they're locating my star, calling my star, conjuring my star up, my glory, my virtue, my blessings, my prosperity, whatever, and asking it about me. Asking it, what am I to do in the future? What are my gifts? how rich will I be, or how wealthy, or am I supposed to get this, get that, right? Trying to be nosy, trying to get information about me and what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go, and what I'm supposed to receive, so that I don't receive it, so I don't get there, and so I don't do. So they can put all these roadblocks, satanic roadblocks, and traps and whatever they need to do in order, and agents to try to deter me or slow me down or block me or steal from me for themselves. Because they're thieves. That's what they do. How would they do this? How would they call it starve? They would call it the starve through water. Remember? Don't forget water. We just spoke about how triangles in water, the face, it says that, go back to Genesis 1. They're not for the religious. It says, the earth was formless, empty, and dark, and it covered the deep waters. Those are dark waters. Deep waters are dark waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. In other versions, it says over the face of the waters. Right? So if the waters have a face, what's on a face? A mouth. Right? So the waters can speak. So basically, they would use water as a like conduit, or like a middle thing, like a TV or something, or earphones to hear, to get the information. They really do this. They're really, really poor witches and wizards who don't have a lot of money to buy a crystal ball will use water or mirrors, right? They use mirrors as well. They speak to the mirrors. You see somebody and you go into their spot and they have different mirrors, and some of them are covered up, like covered or something, or like kind of put out. Like you see that it gets put away and then it comes back out or moves and stuff, but it's never like out in the open too much like that. They're using mirrors or anything. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a mirror. Anything that has the reflection of, right, like a mirror. But mirrors are a big one. And like the lady who's just like from Sleeping Beauty, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the finest of them all? And then a face appears and starts talking to her, right? And we noticed it was just her in the mirror. Like I don't think the people would like. It was just like, it was like an intimate thing with her in that mirror. And then the mirror would show up and tell her, "Oh, well, Snow White is actually better than you, Queen. You think you're the baddest, right? Who's the finest of them? Remember on the wall, who's the finest of them all?" Right? She was like, she was like, "Who's the finest of them all?" And he was like, "Well, actually, it's her." And he was telling her, he was answering that, like who got more? Who's the richest one? Who or whatever? And then what happens? Snow White started hating on her and what? Put a spell on her to die. Ate the apple, right? Went to sleep. Yeah, but someone can conjure up your star using water, using mirrors, and the really fancy ones have crystal balls, right? And then the star can speak information to that satanic prophet, witch, wizard, whatever. So stars have mouths and stars speak. They can sing, they can speak, they can take instructions. They got ears, right? They can hear. They could also locate your star. And okay, well look, check it out. Joseph. Right, where was Joseph? Is in Genesis 2, right? I mean I could tell you the story, but I don't wanna. Was it Joseph? The birth of Ishmael. So, a wife of Isaac. Jacob's just no. Let's see. Jacob's children. Jacob's tree. Now Joseph. I'm trying to. Oh, Joseph. There we go. Joseph's dreams. 37. Genesis 37. So um, Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, mm, he often tended his father's flock. So he worked for his dad. He was working for his dad. That's what Joseph was doing, often tending to the flock of his father. Look at my hair. Um. Okay. I got distracted. Yeah. And he worked for his half brothers, the sons of his father's wife, Bilhah and Zilpah. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Oh, really? I didn't know. Okay, so Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. Joseph was his baby. So one day Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. There's a little asterisk next to it. So a coat of many colors. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them, and they couldn't say a kind word to him. So because of his coat of many colors that his dad gave him, because his dad loved him, not something he really wasn't his fault. All of his brothers they hated him. It says right here. They hated Joseph because he was loved the most. And they could not say one kind word to him. So basically, they couldn't be nice to him. They were always speaking evil to him. They were always speaking hate to him. They couldn't speak a good, kind word. Not one word, it says. So one night, Joseph had a dream, and he told these brothers about it, and they hated him even more. Listen to this dream, he said. We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. And his brothers responded, so you think you will be our king? Do you actually think you will reign over us? And they hated him all even more because of his dreams and the way he talked about them. So first they hate him because he got this fly coat with many colors. It was just a really cool, nice sweater jacket that his dad gave him because his dad loved him so much. And they hated him. And they couldn't be nicer. So they were already mean and hateful. Then he has a dream. Oh my God, I'm a dreamer. And they hate him even more. Remember Martin Luther King, I had a dream and then he got shot. But anyways, because of his dreams. Soon Joseph had another dream, and again he told his brothers about it. Listen, I have had another dream. He said, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed low before me. And this time he told the dream to his father as well as to his brothers, but his father scolded him. What kind of dream is that, he asked. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you? But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what the dreams meant. Pause. So hateful, mean, and jealous is what his brothers were. Even his family, his parents, were rebuked him. Like, we're a little, so he was getting a lot of hate, poor Joseph, and he was little. But the point I'm trying to make is he had the second dream. Where is it? Oh, I lost. Hold on. Where is it? I just read it. The sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed low before me. Okay, pause. So stars can bow. It says Joseph had a dream that everybody's stars bowed to him. So if a star can be made to bow down, really what the dream meant was that he was going to prosper above all of them, which he did. Even though they plotted to kill him and sold and trafficked him, the dream warned him, though, and told him that he was going to come on top and they were going to bow to him. Basically, again, it has to do with prospering, which he did. He ended up in the king's palace. Second to king is basically king. Second to king, the king's right hand man. And you were sold into slavery to be trafficked. First, they wanted to kill you in a pit. Same thing happened to me, right? But that was you were not supposed to live, and you were not definitely not supposed to be basically the king. If you're second to king, that's high. That was not what all that was for. That was they wanted him dead and they wanted him in a pit and a slave. But his dream came past. His dream said the stars will all bow to him. So compared to him, they would not prosper in their plans of treachery and murder and slavery, right? So your star can be made to bow down. And what that really means is somebody could call your star and command it or program it to bow down, which means not to prosper and to be below people that you're actually better than in whatever it is you do. You know, like I'm not saying better than in a prideful way, but I'm like work, for example. Like let's say you are really good at your job and you've been there for 10 years. You are supposed to be running that job. But there's been 3 people that got hired and go above, and they never, and you're still there. And it's like you work harder than them. You should be making more money than them because you worked harder. You know everything better. You've done everything more. Like you are better qualified. And even if you're not qualified, glory to God, with this kind of star, you don't need to be qualified. God will qualify you, right? But basically, it's like coming in last, right? Like for example, the example I read was like, if there's a class of 40, you will always be number 40 on the list coming in. And let's say they add 2 more kids to that class. Now you're 42, right? You were number 40 because you're last below everyone. They added 2 more new kids to the class, and instead of staying, well, now you're 42. You're going down to the bottom of the list. That's not cool. That's not normal. But by making them, by someone, a witch or warlock or a satanic prophet, whatever, telling you to bow down, that will happen. So if you're always coming in last, and you don't, that's a sign that there's triangular powers at work. You know, like it's too much. So triangular powers can also be used or programmed or cause no one to like or love you, right? Like you're like, why does everybody hate me? Man? Wait, I don't even do anything to y'all. All I did was have a dream. All I did was do my hair. All I did was put a new shade of lipstick on. All I did was get some new clothes. I needed some clothes. Man, I can't get a new sweater. Y'all mad for my jacket? Y'all can get a jacket too. You know, like my jacket triggered everybody though. Everybody. You too, Mom. Dad. Yep. So the triangular powers can do that. I'm talking about no one. You're nobody, just God. Know this too. When you go for deliverance somewhere and they pray for you and the attacks get worse or increase, those are triangular powers at work, and you must disconnect yourself with that person from the triangular powers. Regular deliverance is not going to work. And also the dreams. Yeah, thank you for reminding me, Holy Spirit. God warned the 3 wise men in a dream to go another way and not tell Herod. And in a dream, Joseph was told that he would prosper. In a dream, Joseph was told he would have them all his stars bowed down, and the sheep, right? So that is how they know sometimes too what you're supposed to get, where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be, how big you're supposed to do this or whatever, right? Like that. That's how they'll know. Usually they know before you do because they're nosy. They're all in your dreams. They're out of body. They astral travel, the witches, the wizards, whatever. Leave their body and they go into your they they fly over your moon and your sun, right? That's good luck trying. Yeah, you got to program things so that when they do try to fly over your moon and all that, or your star, that they uh will regret it and not do it again. Um, you'll see them in your dreams trying to feed you, giving you gifts, money, have sex with you, all this kind of stuff to tie to you, or to destroy, or sabotage, or delay you, or and to get information. They can also um, hold your star so that you don't know where your destiny lies, so that you don't know where you're supposed to go and never get there. They could hold your star. They could steal your star. Is this good? They could steal your star, and they could have your star in a cage. They could divert your star. They could cast your star down. They could bury your star underground in dirt in a graveyard, and they could just simply remove it and keep it for themselves and hold it. Um, they could do that with your star. So you gotta go get your star back. Your star back. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to steal from you, and they don't want you to know what you're supposed to do and like where your destiny is, where it lies, and so you don't know where you're supposed to go. But they know. Um, what are stars? Stars are just light, right? Let there be light. Every time God created something, that's what He said. Let there be. Let there be. Let there be light. Your words, right? And without light, it's dark.
So an enemy, a witch, a warlock, a satanic prophet can manipulate what kinds of light shines on you. There's different kinds of light. There's lights of disgrace, for example. So they can program the, your heavenlies so that the light of disgrace shines upon you. And usually there's a lot of things like disgrace and to be forsaken, to be ashamed, humiliation, right? And that's when you give it back. You say, let double shame be their portion, the traps, snares, pits, all that. And it's to prevent correct light from shining on you, right? Who is Lord? You want the correct light to shine on you. What happens if the correct light is not shining upon you? With the light of disgrace, right? For example, you will never be at a place where you will get opportunities, right? Because with God, it's all about where God takes you in the favor of God. That's how He works, you follow in your obedience mode. So basically, like you always have a dead end, a closed road. And it's also to get your hopes and to break you down so you don't believe in God, but really they're programming things behind the scenes and you don't see it. You think God isn't going to do it for you. How much
It's a great. No, okay. But yeah, they're trying to prevent the correct light from shining upon you, so that you are not at the right place to get that favor from God or opportunity, because that is how God works. He uses people. He has people in position and places. He has gone before you and made a way. He has His people in places too. So when He sends you somewhere and you're obedient, that is how you'll be moving with the favor of God. You'll have favor with God because one of God's peoples is there. One of God's peoples, which is your peoples, is there. Is my light on? Okay. And so, like I said, it'll always be a dead end and a closed door. And that is all to like forsake you, right? Because when you're like, God, please don't forsake me. I, I, I said I believe you. I'm believing for this. I said no, God's gonna do it. I stick up for you, God. Please don't forsake me, Dad. That's why He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. It doesn't make sense. If you're getting forsaken, and He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you, that means something's going on, and that's the triangular powers at work. Those right there. They're aiming, they're shooting, they're manipulating. Um, they operate in the demonic realm, the realm of the dead, Sheol, right? The second heaven. And these are evil and wicked spirits that are disobedient, where they just run amok, they're just vicious and cutthroat. And this is also where the witches, the wizards, and the satanic prophets and agents, when they leave their body, this is where they operate from. And they can operate and program into your stars and everything, just anything like poverty, loss of things, um, uh, a lot of things, satanic embargoes. That's like a ban, they could, uh, it gets deep, it gets deep. But for now, um, we'll leave it at this. I'll leave you guys with this image right here.